Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code The Wigan Way, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
Thanks again for joining us this week on the Wigan Way. Unfortunately, not the result that we were looking for with a trip over to Wakefield and a loss that I'm not saying was unexpected or whatever, but it wasn't the performance we would normally expect from Wigan. But before we get into all them details and conversations like that, I'm joined again, Matty.
Yes.
How are you doing this week, mate? Apart from the loss, I should.
Apart from the loss, you know, it can have a bit of a dampener on your weekend. All the rain did that as well. But I think we've had an alright week, haven't we?
Yeah,
all things considered. If you can never be too down after a loss and never be too high after a win.
No.
That's what we always say, isn't it?
You're usually somewhere in the middle.
Can it be in the middle? Yeah.
Heard a lot of, we're absolutely rubbish, which just isn't true. And you then hear a lot of, we were brilliant a month ago and we probably weren't that good a month ago. We were somewhere in the middle and we've not been blown off the park.
You're never as bad as you think.
We've not been blown off the park by Wakefield, have we? But before we get into this game, I wanna talk about something. We discussed this at the game, and it's a bit of a pattern that I've noticed over the last 3-4 years under Matty Peake. I just want to run through it. 2022, Matty Peake's first season, we win the Challenge Cup. We don't have this blip around June, July, and by the time we get to the end of the playoffs. Towards the end of the season, we have a pretty poor loss to Hull KR. We lose in the playoffs to Leeds, and we seem to run out of steam.
I don't remember that. Lost to Hull KR.
Was when we sort of rested a few players when we went across.
I really don't remember that at all.
I'm pretty certain. I'm just trying to get the score up.
I remember
38-28. We played a few young kids. Ben O'Keefe was kicking goals for us. We played a young side.
Oh, so we sent all our kids?
We sent quite a lot of young kids and we tried to rest everyone.
Is that where Eckersley made his debut and
those loads?
Junior made his debut?
Well,
so that's that one. I was thinking that was at Wakey, but that was at...
I'm just going to read you some of the names out on this team sheet. Jake Bibby played, Patrick Mago, Partington, Havard, Sam Halsall, James McDonald, Amila Hanley, Alex Sutton, Junior Nasemba, Logan Astley, Ben O'Keefe. Zach Eckersley was on the bench. Forber played. So it was a really young side, and we went to...
A lot of them have made it into Super League now, haven't they, 3 years later? But yeah, those players 3 years ago were...
But we sent a weakened team because we needed a rest.
That's hard, getting 38-28 away at Hull KR is not a bad result.
No.
We sent the first team there and got beaten by more than that before.
But my point was we were sort of running out of steam and we needed a week off. Sent a young side there.
Oh, that was on Bank Holiday Monday, 3 days after we beat Saints at home.
Yeah. And then we ran out of steam against Leeds at home in the playoffs and were poor that day. Go on to 2023. We had a disappointing middle part of the season again. We obviously lost the Challenge Cup semi-final to Hull KR at Headingley.
Yeah. We lost away at Hull and lost at home to Leeds.
Yeah, but we'd also lost 27-26 to Wakefield.
Of course.
At the start of July.
Of course.
And then post the Challenge Cup semi-final loss, which is that blip in the middle that I'll talk about again, we'd lost to Catalans, Magic.
We won 3 in a row, didn't
We went through, and I think it was 8 league games, playoffs, finals. We won the league leaders, and we won the playoffs. Fast forward to 2024, obviously we peaked really early winning the World Club Challenge and the Challenge Cup. And post-Challenge Cup, we got on a bit of a losing streak. We lose away at Hull, where we were anything but convincing. And I think it was a 10-minute spell at the end, Zach Eckersley. Got a late try. Warrington at home, we got butchered 40-odd points to 4. Brad O'Neill snapped his ACL. Started against Huddersfield the week after and we were really, really poor. Remember Jake Wardle length of the field try, got us going again.
I do remember that, yeah.
And from that point on, we beat Lee convincingly on a Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a weird one where we played Lee.
And Field came back for that.
We played Huddersfield, Lee and Leeds in the same week.
Yeah.
Field came back for the Lee game, then missed Leeds. We beat Lee easily and then we lost to Leeds.
Yeah.
And it looked like we were playing our third game in a week, which we were.
But again, from that bad spell at the Huddersfield game where we just about win, we go on a run where we only lose one game, win the league leaders, and win the playoffs. So my point is, I think there's a little bit of a pattern developing that we're not wanting to run out of steam, get to the playoffs and have nothing left. It's next to impossible to play perfect, really good attacking rugby for a year.
It's not next to impossible, it is impossible. That's why no one's ever done it.
So
even teams who've won trebles, quadruples as we have, they've not done that.
But so I then look and I go, is that Matty Pete saying, you know what, I've learned from this or not? I remember listening to something about Wayne Bennett and he talked about letting the players' standards drop a little bit so you could peak at the right time. And
it's a weird comment that, isn't it? But I kind of understand what you mean. Let them drop so you can build them up again.
Yeah, let them drop. Let the standards drop and don't pick up everything every game. And
rather than always being 6 out of 10, you drop it to a 4, then you can pump it to a 9.
Yeah, and you can sort of light the fireworks and get into them in the changing rooms and suddenly get back to your standards, lads. You know what you're doing. So I wonder whether there's a little bit of that there.
I think I know what you're saying. I think what you're saying is we've had this sort of blip before.
Yeah.
It's the mid-season lull. We've lost away at Wakefield before millions of times and still done good things. We've lost away at Wakefield and not had a good season, but we've also lost at Wakefield and had a brilliant season. So it's the reaction that matters.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying there. I think it's the reaction to this lull that tells us whether we're going to be a successful team this season or not. And to me, and I'm sure to everyone, success means lifting the trophy at Old Trafford. And I would still make us favourites for that, and that hasn't changed since Thursday.
No, I don't think that's changed at all. And with that, I want to point out, we talked about the Challenge Cup period and the games after that. We looked at the next 7. We've won 4 of them. Lost to Wakefield. And we talk about that running that we've got in the next few weeks before we get into the playoffs. With the timing of this, we've actually got a little bit longer, really. There's about, 12 games left? 12 games?
I think 13.
13.
In the previous 13, I don't know.
In the previous, we've had to almost be perfect for 8 weeks. Here, there's still a long time to go. There's 13 weeks. And I just don't think it's time for crisis. I'm not saying it was good to lose, but...
Well, we don't need to be perfect for 13 weeks because we've... we want to finish top 2, don't we?
Yeah.
I know obviously we want to finish first, but we want to finish top 2 more than anything. And we've got 4 points gap over Leeds, so we don't want to have to be perfect. We do if we want to win the league leaders. But we've still got some tricky fixtures. I still got to go to St Helens. We've never won there under Pete.
Mm-hmm. I just think there's
still got to go to Warrington. I know they're not great shakes at the minute, but I'm sure they will be by the time they play us. They always are.
And they're always a different challenge when we come to town.
Yeah, Wigan week and all that.
I just think there's an element of just calm here. We're in a good position. Now, I'm not saying it's great, but we're in a decent position.
Oh yeah, we were 4 points behind the previous 2 years where we've won the League Leaders' Shield. Mm-hmm. We've been 4 points behind Catalans and we've been 4 points behind KR.
So let's see where we're at. Should we get into this game then?
Yeah, go on.
Right, so a loss to Wakefield. Not a nice result. But you know what? I want to start off with something a little bit positive. Really good to see what they're doing there at the ground. They had like a fan zone open. Really good weather, which always helps.
They packed it out, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing. I know they always filled it when we've been previously, but that's because one of them was closed. But it was good to see that they'd filled quite a lot of both their stands, and then some people were in ours.
Yeah, definitely. 16 points to 10. 10-0 at half time, so not the greatest start.
Oh.
How much of that first half do you remember?
One thing I've noticed is all the games we've lost this year, with exception probably of the cup match, but all the ones we've lost in the league, I've felt like they've been over quick.
Yeah, game's gone.
You know, when you look up and you think, it's half time, or there's only 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that comes from us not controlling the game and not finishing sets as we would want to. You know, like when we're on top and we finish the set by just drilling it into touch. Or
5-and-5 kick.
And then I wonder if that's why it's all a bit more frantic, and then all of a sudden it's 5 minutes to go, 6 minutes to go.
See, I
That's
think
just one thing I've noticed. I don't know what you reckon.
No, I certainly agree. I don't disagree. We're a better team when we're controlled and allow X factor. And again, that comes from the game management. I think it also comes from our forwards didn't get on top this week.
No, they didn't.
So we didn't get field positions. We couldn't put controlled kicks in. I think this is probably, if you look back, the game that we've kicked from our own half the most. Normally we have a very good...
Since Penrith.
Yeah, normally we have a very good attacking set and we make good yardage. We're doing that box kick from 40 out.
We did at the start.
Yeah.
We did do that at the start too, must be said. We were dropping it on the wingers' heads quite a lot at the start. But then after the second half, we were struggling for territory, weren't we?
Yeah, I think the second half of the first half, that 15-20 minutes before half time, it was very even. And the second half, I think they probably dominated the territory a little bit. Now, let's have a look at the tries. First of all, the try scoring was opened by Fatale, the big prop forward.
Yep. Chaos, they call him.
Yeah, Captain Chaos. Now, I want to mention something defensively now. We can all highlight the massive gap that he's able to run through between Ellis, who's at first marker, and Thompson, who's the A defender. I think this comes down a little bit to Jay.
Yeah.
Something that we've praised him for an awful lot is his defensive organisation, but I think he got this one wrong.
Yeah, it's tough to see on the highlights. Obviously, we were quite far away from this. We were in the opposite corner. But it looks as though, as he's preparing to play the ball, whoever gets tackled previously, Liam Byrne is sent to the blind side. And that's obviously, the fullback does that. We know the fullback decides who goes blind side, who goes open side and all this, and Liam Byrne will be listening to his fullback. And then when the picture kind of zooms out, we're wondering maybe had somebody switched from blind to open late or whatever, because it looks like we've just numbered up a bit wrong there.
We were 3v2, and Wakefield's 3 attacking threats, Lino, Truman and Jowett, were all to the open side, which suggests we've got it wrong. But do you think maybe here, obviously Farrell's trapped at marker with Ellis, Jay's just realised his second row was trapped in at marker and we must be one short that side?
Maybe.
But it's an interesting point to have a look back at it, because it's then just leaves a gap, and he runs a really good line. At both shoulders of Ellis and Thompson, who can't get the field, can't do anything on the line to stop the big man.
No.
And he scores 4-0. Now, obviously, they missed his kick.
Yeah, we weren't really watching because there was a bit of chaos, not chaos, a bit of chaos in the away end throughout this whole first half. I think there was a lot of just incidents, not with people being, not people treating others unwell or anything, just because people were being unwell, unfortunately, and there was a bit of illness, and so there was a bit of.
Someone decided to volunteer me as a first aider.
Yeah. I did wonder where you went for a bit there, you being first aider.
Yeah, so...
It was an unusual half.
Yeah. Several arguments at the back of that stand.
Yeah, just because it wasn't really dealt with.
No.
It was just like the Wigan fans just dealt with it
Yeah.
People were being unwell. Somebody keeled over. A couple of people keeled over.
Got a keeler.
We got a keeler, and then just Wigan fans were just left to deal with it, which is definitely not procedure. But
no, it's not procedure. But obviously, hopefully, everyone's all right, and everyone was well dealt with. Now back onto the game. Griffin scores with about 3 minutes left, which was converted to make it 10-0. It's just a good kick.
It's a good kick. It's a good kick.
I think it came early in the set as well. I think
fullback caught at marker, early kick in the tackle, counted. Tails all this time. Your second rower can dive on it. I don't want to say undefendable because
nothing's undefendable.
Nothing's undefendable. You put more pressure on the kicker, you can
sit off more and
I don't know. I think when Griffin's got a run start like that,
and Wardle slips as well. He wasn't going to get there.
He wouldn't get there anyway. You've got your defenders who are static, waiting for the pass. Yeah, I think it's really tough to defend this one. I think the mistake on this was made previously, letting them get that close.
And the quick play the ball.
Letting them get a quick play of the ball, so Wakefield was trapped. Yeah, I think that those were the mistakes there, rather than letting Griffin score. Because once he puts that kick in, there's only one winner there really, which is Griffin.
Do want to mention our friend that we stood with, Cameron. Said it's not often we've not seen tries from grubbers in a long time. Yeah. His comment to us, and about 30 seconds later, Griffin scored from a grubber kick. So
no, I think he said we used to see a lot more tries from grubbers. Why did they stop trying it? Because a lot of, and I think the answer, which I didn't have for him at the time because they immediately scored, was the introduction of the 7-tackle set. Yeah, that grubber kick can just take a wicked bounce onwards.
Yeah,
and you've given away a 7-tackle set, which is why people prefer the, what I suppose you could call a box kick or a teardrop kick, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll drop it on the winger.
Drop it on the winger's head or the centre's head. Yeah, so I think that's why. But this one was executed very well.
I'm going to be honest. While we mentioned that, it's a part of the reason you see it a lot more in the NRL is the bigger in goals, a lot more to aim for.
Yeah,
certain grounds you just see a lot more of them over there.
And Nathan Cleary is the best exponent of it with his nana kicks, where they just bend back towards you. Yeah, they are impossible to defend against.
So 10-0. We went at half time and sort of thinking, score early, get back into it, start winning this arm wrestle.
Yes,
I think would have been the message from Matty Pete.
The set before, I think Wardle had a chance to intercept and go length of the field, and it took him by surprise and he knocked on. And then they scored. So it's a big swing that, you could be going into half time 6-4 up. Instead, you're going 10-0 down. It completely changes the dynamic of the game. And close games like this do swing on moments like that.
Yeah.
And this one definitely did. That was, for me, the moment the game swung.
Definitely. Into the second half, Adam Kieran opens the scoring for Wigan. 5 minutes in, not 5 points in, 5 minutes in. He obviously converts, and that makes it 10 points to 6.
Yep.
I think this is just a good piece of play.
Yeah, lovely.
Good shape.
Try. Lovely ball from French, who, had a relatively quiet game by his own standards. And we now know why. He seems to have been carrying a calf knock that we'll see him sidelined for
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
I wouldn't be overly rushing him back.
No. We've got business end of the season coming up.
Well, you know what? That'll take him to 10 weeks. 10 weeks left of the regular season.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain every injury he's had, where he's come back, has been around like game 8
well,
now.
Apart from the one where he came back at
Easter Monday
and then broke the tries record.
Yeah. But come back for business end, put himself on ice, make sure you're doing all right when it matters.
Yeah.
Now, the gutting thing for us was that Wakefield went and scored again.
Yes.
Tom Johnstone. Brilliant finish in the last blade of grass.
Yeah.
Which
we had 2 people in our mentions, because I can't remember what we'd even said, but 2 people were arguing about whose fault this was that we conceded this try. One person was blaming French, one person was blaming Farrell. And I actually think it's neither of them. And this argument went on, and we weren't even involved in this anymore, but it was, replying to our original post. And I don't think either of them are right, really. I think you can always blame inside defenders, can't you? You can blame every defender if a try gets scored. But I don't think anybody really shares any portion of the blame. No one really missed a tackle. This was just a well-executed move. The centre runs a nice line, second row runs a nice line. You've got dummy runners, as Jonathan Davis loves to call them, dummy runners.
If Wigan had scored this try...
I wouldn't be talking about Cam Scott's defence. Let me be clear on that.
No, you'd be
Yes.
saying,
Or
great,
Trinity.
take it to the line.
Yeah.
Early ball, take it to the line.
And that's not just a Wigan thing, because remember what we said when Adam Kieran went past Matt Duffy.
Yeah.
We are happy to call out bad defence when we see it from other teams. But this wasn't it. If we did score this try, which we have scored similar tries before, and Marshall dives in the corner, you go, right, well, defence probably did the right thing there. They made sure that Wakey had to execute every pass to perfection. Johnstone had to dive in the perfect spot and put it down.
Cleanly. You have to
Clean
keep
hit,
hold
ran
under
the last
pressure.
green blade of grass, and he made it a difficult kick, which he ended up kicking. But, all the things that you meant to do, that we talk about you should do. Don't get beat up the middle, don't be soft. Don't.
Now, the only way you stop a try like this is by cheating the game a little bit and sliding early.
Or going for an intercept.
Yeah, and leaving yourself vulnerable somewhere else that they could pick you off and score under the sticks. Wigan stuck to the principles here and backed themselves and Wakefield
As most teams do.
Yeah, and Wakefield just scored a good try at that.
Yep, other team is allowed to be good.
Yeah, they're allowed to do good things, and it's worth remembering, really, isn't it?
Mm.
So, that's the 55th minute. The game is now 16 points to 6. And I think we just went away from the way that we play. Now, we get a lot of criticism when we lose for, I know you can't see, but quotations, 4 drives and a kick.
Well, we did get criticised for that this game.
Yeah.
One out rugby, I think, was the phrase.
But when that works for you in 70 to 80% of games.
Mm.
And you and I both talk about it when we watch games. If a team starts offloading 2-3 minutes in their own 20-metre line, and they make a break, whatever, you go, they can't get away with that all game.
Well, usually the worst team in the league throws the most offloads.
Yeah. And I look at it and I just think, we went away from winning territory, spending time in good ball, and then throw your shapes at teams. We were throwing shapes from our own 20. And then
I think, to be honest, Tom, I think that just came from, we tried the first method and we tried to get territory the normal way and it hadn't worked.
No, I don't
I don't know the reason why, because they were light on pack members.
Well, do you think we lost it though? Do you think we lost territory possession? Because I don't think we were winning it, but it was even. And then we seemed to go away from it.
But I feel like early on we had some chances on their line. After that, the only one I really remember was Kieran's try. Don't really remember many other times where we were knocking on the door. Whereas for them, they scored 3 tries from close range.
Yeah. I just want to go through it though, that you throw the ball around in your own half, and we had a couple of slips, like Wardle got into a little bit of space and slipped. And then suddenly, Harry Smith is kicking from his own 25, 30 metre line, reaching their 20, and Jowett starting sets
40, 45.
Yeah. When you actually watched us against Penrith.
And then we finally had an amazing defensive set, and someone just got a boot from high heaven and booted it over Jay Field's head, and it went back to his own try line, and we're all of a sudden behind the 8 ball again.
I just think,
excuse me,
when you watched us against Penrith in the World Cup Challenge, we didn't win territory that day, but we also didn't go reckless throwing the ball around.
Ellen Road, another perfect example.
Yeah, we attacked from deep at appropriate times when we got to quick play the ball, when we were on the front foot. Not every set. A lot of the sets, I'd say 70%, we were prepared to just try and get to the 30 and kick long and defend. And then when you got a chance, let's do it now. It felt a little bit forced all the time.
Yes.
And that's not what we can do.
No, I agree.
Now,
I agree.
We do end up scoring a try. Jay Field in the last minute of the game, a chip that he collects and races through. He's having a really good try scoring season.
He is. I think he's 17 now, isn't it?
17th, yeah. But what I want to mention with this is, I don't want to referee bash, and I really don't think it would have changed the game. But Wigan did something that's not the most common. Turned down the kick. Now, if we take the kick, it takes a minute. We don't even kick off. Wigan turned down the kick. But it was a good 30 seconds until the referee stopped time. And the clock got stopped on, I think it was 79:42, which effectively meant we had one set.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have scored. I don't think it changes the result of the game.
Gives us a shot, though.
But it gives us an opportunity to maybe just take one or two carries and play, rather than have to do something from kick-off and try a kick. It didn't work. It was worth trying something.
The kick-off was really deep, which again puts us in difficult position.
And I just think maybe another 40 seconds you can do something. But it's not something that's common in our game, turning down the kick. And I'm glad we did it. Because that showed that what we were going for, we were still trying to win this game. We could have took 2, only lost by 4 on the points difference and all that side of it. But who's bothered about the points difference when you have a chance of winning games or staying in a game for get to golden point?
I couldn't have done another golden point at Wakefield anyway.
No.
I've not lost one. You know, we've lost 7 out of our last 9 visits there.
Are we just going to there at the KCOM?
Must be there. We've won KCOM twice this year. We've won twice at Wakefield in the last 10 years, I suppose. If it's 9 visits. Well, no, because we've been more. With these stupid loot fixes, we've been more than that. But
we didn't go last year, did we?
No, we didn't go last year. And considering Wakefield has been traditionally a team that's finished in the bottom half of the table.
Our record should be better, though.
Well, yeah, of course.
Right, I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
We'll come back and we'll go through the news. Matt, you've been looking around. There's been a lot going on over in Australia and the southern hemisphere of rugby league. So what's caught your eye?
As always, yeah, I've got 3 eye catchers. First one, I'm going to go to PNG.
Oh.
For the new PNG team, they've announced their board of directors, and they have also said that there's going to be a fan vote to decide the name of this PNG team.
Oh.
Which is fun.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
I like that. Sorry, while you mentioned them, Wayne Bennett, he's apparently turned them down. He said he'd happy to be...
Of his help.
Yeah, is in a non-formal but paid, not head coach, but
kind of what Mal was doing for the Raiders.
Yeah. Pushing them in the right way.
Maybe you can have worse people to have that, but what do we think we should call the team? We have no idea what is going to get voted for by the people of PNG. There's 11 million people registered their interest in PNG team. 11 million.
To just vote?
Well, I don't think these 11 million have registered their interest to vote. I think they've just registered their interest in the team.
Or to play.
So that's how many fans they've got, or potential players.
Wow.
Yeah, 11 million. That's some sort of player pool to choose from. They'll probably choose something like Rough Riders, though. That seems to be, every time the fan vote, that seems to win, or something stupid like that. You know, what would that...
You can't trust the public, can you, to vote on a name?
What was the gritter called? Super yellow.
Super
gritty, yellow polka dot anti-slip machine or something stupid.
My favourite's still that boat that got voted for, Ultimate Boatface.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Sir David Attenborough, that was eventually named.
Yes,
see, that's when we realised public vote, and also when Gunnosaurus won the vote for most creative midfielder in the Premier League.
Forgot about that.
That's when you've got to realise public votes aren't winning. But maybe they'll come up with a good name. I know if you look in America, a lot of American sports teams were named by public vote in 1920 or 1910 or whatever. And usually what happens is the one that has the most votes doesn't even win. They just choose one from the 3 highest.
Yes.
Seems to be what happens. There's an interesting... Well, I find this interesting, you might find this completely not interesting, but Seattle Mariners are a baseball team. Their name was chosen in a public ballot, and they tried to reach out to the guy who'd submitted it to give him a prize, which was season tickets, and he didn't exist. He was fake. It was a fake person.
Fair play.
Imagine if that happens. So there's an interesting anecdote from the past. So you want to look up Seattle Mariners, how they got their name. That's how they got the name. Can't remember the guy's name now, but he just didn't exist. It was a fake name, fake vote, and that was the one that won. So we'll see what that is. My second piece of eye-catching news was, well, just State of Origin Game 2, really. State of Origin Game 2, Queensland getting a big lead, New South Wales coming back, Queensland getting the first 9 penalties in a row. Ashley Klein was under some serious criticism.
And he's kept it on for Game 3.
Yeah, so I was watching this with a friend, and I was genuinely saying to him, like, this guy was a ref when I was a kid in Super League. 2003, he made his Super League debut.
Who else referees?
I know. It's him or it's Jerry Sutton.
Them two. I switch on any NRL game and it's them two.
Yeah. It does feel like
and
it.
there's Casey Badger, who I've seen a couple of times.
Belinda Sharp. But the women, it's more obvious when the women are on.
But whenever there is ref talk, it's Ashley Klein and Jared Sutton.
It does feel like those two get more bashing than anybody else, especially Klein.
8-0.
And there was one where he gave a high shot against New South Wales, and New South Wales challenged it. And I went, well, that is a knock-on by New South Wales, but there's already been 3 infringements by Queensland before that even happened, because Queensland had knocked on, then the guy offside picked it up, then they'd knocked on again or something. So, yeah, it did seem a bit unusual, that, but we'll give Mr. Klein the benefit.
I've got to mention Gordon Tallis in that. He criticised the ref in Game 1 for giving more penalties to Queensland, to New South Wales, on stats that he admitted were just made up. And then, after this one said, you've got nothing to complain about, Billy's only won 3 penalty counts out of 10, which again is not true.
He's not even had 10 games.
I'll just wear a suit and just make up what you want, really.
Yeah. Also, didn't Gus say something funny this week? Oh yeah, Gus said that Adam Reynolds should play, which would very handily mean he misses the game against Canterbury Bulldogs. Just completely coincidence. The club that Gus Gould is president of. And I'm not suggesting anything there.
Listen, he's never talked to him. He's never met the kid.
I'm not suggesting Gus would do something in the media and use his platform to try and benefit his own team. But you all inferred that from what I just said.
He's never met the kid.
Gus,
I've never spoken to him.
Gus, just stop it, man. Anyway, I think Cleary's going to be fit anyway, so it doesn't matter. You can't pick...
It would be interesting, though. Should mention this. If he doesn't play, who would fill in there? Because there's no Mitch Moses. If Mitch Moses was available, all would be fine, and I don't think there'd be an issue or a conversation.
Moses and Luai.
But the conversation at the moment now is, does Matt Burton go in there?
No.
Or does Luai go in there, who neither of them are 7s?
Yes, 7.
The young lad at the Dolphins, Katoa. Very young.
Yeah.
Or Reynolds, the old head.
I've got 2 words for you. Luke Keary. He's killing it, remember?
Yeah.
Nico. No, can't be, can it? Can't be. Brent Drindle.
Wow.
Who else is doing well? Who's doing well in there? I'm trying to think of who the halfbacks are for the best teams in the comp. The halves for the Dogs, Toby Sexton, not really.
There is the option of Luke Metcalf.
Yeah?
Coffs Harbour.
He's killing it. Luke Metcalf.
This has been his big season, hasn't it?
True, but he is killing it. I love Luke Metcalf. We both do, actually. He's one of the few players that
because that's right on the border, isn't it?
That we both really admire. There's lots of players in the NRL that we both dislike. But there's not that many players that we can agree on both being just unbelievable, like young guns, and he is actually one of them.
Yeah. Got Well, what else caught your eye? Last thing.
The last thing that caught my eye was something you told me
Yes.
about Cam Munster. So you take it away, because this is
Cam
your eye
Munster.
catcher. You just told me a Cam Munster fact that...
Cam Munster and his moustache theory.
Yeah, a moustache related, and it's statistics, so that's, you know how to get to my heart by talking about statistics.
Exactly, I knew it.
It's a weird statistic as well, because it's to do with facial hair.
Cam Munster and his moustache is an on and off relationship.
It is.
He grows it out, the Ron Burgundy style, and then it just disappears. For Queensland, his moustache has a very, very low win rate.
Yeah.
No moustache, quite a high win rate. For Melbourne, it's vice versa. When he plays for Melbourne with a moustache, his win percentage is almost something like 80%. Without it, it drops to like, I think it's 67, 68%.
You've got to ask the question, which does he value more? If he turns up for game 3 without a moustache, he values Queensland more than Melbourne.
Well, the moustache has come off. But he did win game 2
Without a moustache.
without a moustache.
Yeah.
So does he keep the North tash
All the way through to game 3.
and then grow it out?
For the finals. That's what you've got to do. If you can Monster, you've got to just eat the losses in between.
Especially now he's captain as well.
Yeah, you can't be turning up with a moustache if you're a captain.
I'll take it.
Everyone knows that you can't win games when you've got a moustache for your state.
Do you reckon that was a part of him getting the captaincy? Shave the tash. Do you reckon they pinned him down? Right.
Yeah.
So that wraps up your eye catchers. Thank you, Matty. The news. Not a lot going on, really, so let's just quickly get through it. Cass have made a signing after allowing, I think it was
Judah
Rimbu to leave. They signed
Joe
Stimpson. That sounds like a fake name, doesn't
I
it?
know what his name is, and that's all I know about him.
Apparently he was a part of a premiership team that Melbourne were in
Okay.
when they won the premiership. I don't think he played.
No.
Um,
Sat behind Craig Bellamy on the bench.
They called him a state of origin forward and actually played in the under-19s.
Right.
So, interesting outlook. But you know what? Chris Chester getting to work and doing his job. So, let's see how that goes. Another one, Danny Richardson on loan to Salford, 2-week loan. I think that's going to take them up to squad number 56.
Yeah, well, yeah.
A lot of signings.
I mean, I really want to make a silver lining in a cloud joke here when it's about Danny Richardson, but I can't think of one fast enough. Obviously, Danny Richardson has been having basically a Twitter beef with clouds over the past few weeks.
I forgot about that.
He's one of those cloud botherers, whatever you call them, chemtrail folks.
Yes.
So
He doesn't believe clouds are natural.
he's going to like the cloudless skies of Salford then, isn't he? He's going to love that. No planes are ever near Salford.
What is going on with the world? Finally, a couple more pieces of news.
Well, what about that Salford 9? That Cobby,
yes.
Cobby Ruggles, or whatever his name is, that Australian they'd signed from Hunslet.
That they hadn't signed.
But that was another Gus Gould situation. They hadn't spoken to him, but they signed him because they couldn't afford to pay a fee, and then they just signed him on 2-week loan instead without talking to the club. They talked to the player in the morning, then left a voicemail on the chairman's phone. Hunslet chairman's
To say that
phone.
we'd signed him on a loan deal instead.
Which I don't know what was going on there.
Oh, that's a strange situation.
I don't know what's going on there, but they've got a 9 now on loan from Hunslet. He's Australian. Cobby Ruggles. No idea if he's good or not. He played the other week. He's squad number 55 if you want to watch this off the game and look out for him.
Another strange one then. Josh Charnley might be leaving.
Yeah, ASAP as well, maybe. I thought this would be the end of the season, and it seems to be.
He's been a bit frozen out, really.
Yeah,
I don't
know what's going on with him, yeah.
Who knows? Because
Charlie's going to improve most teams. I mean, he might not be fitting under everybody's salary cap, but he's going to improve most teams.
well, I'm going to ask you something. Is there a team that he doesn't improve?
with... How long is Joe Burgess injured for?
I think it's another month.
If Joe Burgess is still injured, he improves every team. Yes.
Which is why I'm surprised Leah allowed
Think
him to
about
leave.
it. Wigan have got a winger out injured. Saints have got a winger out injured. Warrington have got a winger out injured. Hull KR have got a winger out injured.
Yep.
Catalans, Cottridge is injured.
And still 5th on the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
A winger that's been nil 4 weeks in a row.
Mad.
Or 3 weeks in a row and scored 6, sorry.
Once you get down there, Charlie's definitely improving every other team.
Yeah. Who's keeping him out on the Lee side?
They've gone with Keenan Brand.
Yeah.
Because Lamb said he wants to go younger at that position because Charlie's leaving anyway, maybe. Last time he played, he came off the bench against Hull just for a few minutes, which seemed weird. I just don't get it. Josh Charlie is your best winger. Has been your best winger, will be your best winger. He's still got plenty in the tank, we reckon.
He's been in the top 5 wingers for the last 10 years.
Unless they see something we don't, and maybe he's lost it a bit, but I don't see that when he plays.
He's still got tries this year. It's not like he's suddenly lost a yard of pace or defensively poor. I haven't seen anything like that. And he's always been brilliant bringing meters out. So, very strange that one.
Yeah, that's a weird
See where he ends up.
Weird call. Probably Warrington, I think. They've got the cap space to go for him.
They could do with him.
Yeah, he definitely would improve them, especially with Lindop and Ashton both on long-term injuries. And isn't there another young lad? Oh, no, he's a forward.
Well, Jake Thewlis is playing full-back for Dufty.
Yeah, Dufty. Because then Jake Thewlis would be coming in as a winger option. So they're very light on outside backs.
King's played.
Yeah,
for the last 2 weeks.
They played 4 centres one week, and then that was when Lindop got injured. So then they didn't have even 4 centres to play.
Last one. Big Wigan news. Sam Walters, 4 more years.
Yes.
Till the end of 2029.
Yes, 4 more years for Sam Walters. When we looked at the sheet of paper independently 4 or 5 weeks ago, was it? I've just been after Good Friday. You wrote down when everybody's contract expires and said to each of us, who would you give an extension to tomorrow? And all 3 of us said Sam Walters.
Yeah, Sam Walters was top of that list.
So it's good to see he's the next one to get one.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased with that. He's deserved it. It's a shame that it's come while he's injured.
Well, Wigan seem to have done that, don't they? Recently, Brad O'Neill got his big announcement of a 5-year whilst he was out with his ACL.
Miski, off the top of my head, last time was he injured then?
I think he was.
Maybe. Magol never seems to be injured apart from this year, so I think he did. But French obviously had the famous one where he said he was coming back when he was still in Australia. He filmed that video with his gym.
Maybe that's the new way to go.
Maybe.
Maybe if you want a new contract at Wigan, you'll pick up an injury. That might be the way forward.
Maybe that's what them and French is doing.
Oh, I can dream. But yeah, Sam Walters, 4 more years. It's going to be really interesting to see where would they see him as a player. Do they see him as a second rower? Do they see him as an impact forward? A long minutes forward?
Interesting to see where he sees himself.
Yes, yeah. And what he wants from his career. Obviously, he's really happy here and he wants to stay.
Yeah.
It's testament to what we're going to do it.
Yeah, again, really, really good news this.
Yeah.
Really good news.
Right, we'll take a quick break and then we're going to go around the grounds. So, we're going to go around the grounds. 5 of the games. Starting off on Thursday, Hull KR made the trip to Castleford. Pretty sure this game was delayed for a little bit, wasn't it, as well?
Was it?
Due to travel issues and whatnot, but I might be wrong on that. 20 points to nil at half time to Hull KR. Hull KR win 48 points to nil.
Yep.
Poor from Castleford. They just seem to get a couple of things right.
You're right though. They do take 2 steps forward and then they take 2 straight forward. Take 2 steps back immediately. Then
Sometimes they like to mix it up and go 3 forward and 3 back. But
I think with Cass, like a lot of the media around Cass is always about Maguire. And I guess this is kind of true with Robinson as well. But I just looked then at Rugby League News, and the last 3 Cass stories are all about Danny Maguire leaving Leeds or Danny Maguire finding such a thing tough at Castle, Danny Maguire turning a corner and such a thing. It's like, We don't tend to have that with the other teams where it's just the head coach who gets all the headlines.
Maguire, Robinson, Burgess.
But I don't think Burgess does, even, because...
I think he did at the start. He's losing that now.
Because I feel like, Williams, then...
Their injuries.
Yeah, their injuries. Duff did at the start of the season.
Barbecues.
Yeah, sharp evenings. Barbecue.
One player I want to talk about. Jack Broadbent.
Oh, yeah.
Playing really, really well. Obviously, he was really buzzing to beat his old team.
Yes. He's a good player, man.
He's you don't get that in rugby league like you used to, like you do in football, where they go, "Oh, don't celebrate against the old team."
No,
if you score against your old team in rugby league, you give it them big.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about with Jack Broadbent is I think he's been one of the top players in the Super League this year.
I agree.
But I don't think he gets in the dream team, the team of the season so far, because of his versatility. He's played a third of his games at fullback. He's played some at centre. He's played some at right centre.
Yeah.
Played a little bit on the wing, I think. He played a couple of games on the wing.
Yeah, and he wasn't first choice at the start of the season, but that's okay. I mean...
He filled in, and then he filled in at fullback when Morg's been cup-tied.
Yeah, Bevan got in the dream team playing 3 different positions. I know that's Bevan.
Yeah.
But if Polkar go on and do well for the rest of this season, he'll still be in the team, so...
I think there'll be a weird element of, if you're talking of a fullback, there might be a better fullback, or there might be a better left centre.
I think he'll get in at centre, for me.
Yeah, I can't disagree with it.
For me, he'd get in at centre right now. I think Field would be a fullback just for scoring so many tries.
It's going to be really interesting to see what they do when Gilly's back.
Yeah.
Because Hiku's got that right centre locked down.
Yeah. I don't know what they'll do.
I don't think anyone does. Could he fill in at 9 bit while Mickey's out? There's options.
No.
They might carry him on the bench, I don't know.
Maybe carry him on the bench.
Good with Volker. Bouncing.
They keep marching.
Marching.
What do you think about they've done well, haven't they? They just keep playing high octane points fest rugby. I don't think that can carry on forever.
No.
But they've got to make sure that they have their lull and peak at the right time if they want to go on and do something really special this year.
Definitely. Moving on. St Helens Leeds.
Yeah.
Everyone's sort of a little bit wrote off Saints, really.
No, I think they did right off Saints. Not just because Saints, but I think just because of how well Leeds have been doing.
Leeds playing
I
well.
don't want to say that it was just all down to Saints being terrible, because it wasn't. It was just because Leeds were on a real good run, and it looked like they were going to extend that run for all money when they went to Saints.
You know what I liked about Saints' performance? Obviously they won, which I was annoying as a Wigan fan. But they took points whenever they could get them. We felt back in a decent goal kicker. They were 4-0 up without scoring a try. And then Dion Cross scores just before half-time and you're 8-0 up. Now, he doesn't convert that, unfortunately. But I just think this showed a team that actually realised they're not playing great. They just need points. Maybe a little bit of understanding, I
suppose so.
Leeds, just a blip. See how they bounce back in the next few weeks.
Well, I know Wilkins slammed them because he didn't have anything else to slam this week. He slammed Leeds for thinking they'd already won the game before the start of it and taking it too casual.
Well, it's really interesting because the next 3 are tough.
I think Arthur might have said something like that, though.
Lee.
Didn't Arthur say they got the attitude wrong and they didn't take it seriously enough, or they took it too lightly?
That would make sense why Wilkin would then follow up with the same comment. So it sounds like he's been cleverer. But Lee, Hullcar away and Saints the next 3, that's a tough 3.
Yes.
They've got some tough games all the way through to the end of the season. So it's going to be interesting what happens then. They've got to play KR twice.
Yeah.
That could really decide who gets in there. Obviously, Lee have now gone into 3rd, we should mention as well. So
they've got that, because they've made that draw near the start of the season, they've got that extra 1 point.
Who was that 1 point with?
Hull, yeah. They drew and got a point, didn't they? It's that one where they took ages looking at Briscoe's foot. Do you remember that after kick-off?
Yeah.
It took them ages to finish that game, and then it
just ended up being a draw.
Well, it zapped everybody's momentum, so they couldn't go for any positions for any drop goal attempts.
Now, let's go on to Saturday, 3 o'clock. Things just get bad to us for Burgess, don't they?
Yes.
Lose the Challenge Cup. Lose to Leeds. Now lose to Huddersfield.
Yes, and be losing the whole time.
Yeah, 12-0 down, 14-6 at half-time and 24-16 at the end. I get that they're missing people. It hurts, it really does.
Huddersfield have kind of clicked into something and now they found their actual proper spine, but then Clune's out for the season.
Really?
Yeah. So just as I'm saying that, Huddersfield have found something there, they've clicked their perfect spine. They've now not got that anymore because Clune's out for the season. But you know what I mean? Wolford was doing well. They got...
I was going to say, so the spine was running as Lola here, Flanagan, Clune and Wolford. So what's going to happen now is Flanagan's going to end up at full back with Wolf in the halves and Lola here at 9. And Ash Goulding's going to play centre.
Yeah. I thought you were being serious for a second. I thought you were being serious.
No, but my point is they will change, rather than just replace Clune, I think he's going to require Lola here in the halves.
Jack Murchie left as well. We had high hopes for him when he played against us last year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was decent. I think he's left. Never made it.
But actually, I was just going to say, I've looked at Warrington side there. Yeah. And there are some injuries, and they're suffering in the outside backs. But a lot of their injuries are in one position.
That's always yeah.
And I don't quite know what I would rather have. Would you
No, that is better.
Yeah.
Having 4 wingers out is better than having a winger, a prop, a second row, a centre.
And a half.
Definitely.
Because I'm just looking at...
You think about it, you've still got 12 of your first choice 13 or 11 or 10 or whatever, rather than 7 or 8.
And obviously, they brought in Sam Stone, so they've got another option there.
Smart. They needed him. If they bring in Charnley...
That would be another good sign.
They should just go bring in Charnley, Matty Russell. Everyone else they used to have.
Get the bang back there.
What's Rhys Evans up to these days?
Rhys Evans. Dead pattern.
Chris Riley.
You know who I think they're missing the most? Danny Walker.
Yeah, they're missing Danny Walker. Yeah.
Right. Saturday afternoon.
That's it. That's all you want to talk about, Danny Walker. They're just missing Danny Walker.
They're missing a hell of a lot.
They do miss Danny Walker, yeah.
They miss Danny Walker a lot.
They've got no threat from now on.
We talk about Sam Powell. Sam Powell's a brilliant servant for Wigan. But he's not of the typical Warrington 9. When you look at... They had Monaghan, Iron. They then had Darryl Clark for a long spell, Danny Walker. They're all creative 9s.
Even go back to somebody like John Clark.
Yeah. I think... I thought Sam Powell's a clever signing.
Well, I thought he was the perfect foil for Danny Walker.
20 minutes to start with. Tackle your heart out. And then come on and spell at 13 if you need. And let Danny Walker play 20 minutes to...
And any injury in the halves. Powell played halves most of his early part of his career.
But a lot of it has been Danny Walker starting. And then going to Sam Powell in that middle bit when you start to roll your main forwards.
That's the unconventional way of doing it.
And I could get it if it was to balance the forwards out, but it just leaves them with no spark out of the... You look at most combinations of 9s, your more defensive one starts.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm trying to think now. I think we might have been the last team not to do that with Piggy Riddell and Mickey, where Piggy was the more traditional 9 and Mickey was your hard-working tackler. And for the majority of that season,
Piggy started.
But
in the big game, Mickey Mack started.
Yeah.
And right now, Mickey Mack, if everyone's fit, he starts for KR, although he isn't fit.
No, but when he's fit, Jez Litton's on the bench to give him something. The same way... to be fair, actually, I've just thought, well, KR didn't really do that, did they? When they had Parcell and Litton.
Yeah, but they were just a 1-2 punch. They were quite similar now.
But you need to turn it around and quick, to be honest.
Burgess?
Yeah. Just need to start winning games, because their running is not great.
No.
Luckily, they've got Salford and Catalan coming up, but I don't think results against them two teams save him. But it might be a good start. And back onto the the right trip. So, after that, also on Saturday, Lee, successful trip to Catalan, 26 points to 12. Gaz O'Brien back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, Sam Tompkins back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, doing what he does best and refereeing. I'm joking.
Setting up tries as well.
Setting up tries. He's such a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's class, isn't he? Makes a big difference.
Yeah. Interesting one here. Tavita Pangai Jr. 65th minute, yellow card at 12-12.
Yeah, this was weird because he captain's challenged this and got himself sent off.
Yeah.
That was weird.
I've never seen that one before.
No.
Sure, there must be something like double jeopardy.
I don't know what's going on with that because surely he should have just been sent off anyway. Because the video ref would have seen it.
Yeah, do they have to allow you the chance to use the captain's challenge before?
Well, maybe he was already going to send him off. Maybe
Maybe he'd already decided that, but
Yeah, maybe.
he has to let you challenge the decision, because if the decision's wrong, then he can't be sin-binned. I don't know what's going on, though. Catalans are desperate for a win, aren't they?
Yes.
7 weeks now.
7 weeks with it winless. It
Winless.
It can't go on like this, can it, Mick?
It can.
There's another one, another Mick McCarthy. But every week. We'll do
Every
it
week.
Until it, I'll tell you what, though. I got another Mick McCarthy one. Have you ever heard the one where his bus breaks down? And he says, well, what happened with the late start today, Mick? Well, the bus broke down. Can you elaborate on that? What, about the bus breaking down? He went, well, it won't go any further.
I am just looking at the running, and it's mad to think that I'm looking at them the same way I look at Salford and thinking they can't win these games.
Catalan.
Huddersfield
Maybe.
travel there next week.
Maybe.
This weekend, I should say, but then it's Wakefield, Warrington, and Hull KR and us. Jeez, they could go double figures if Huddersfield win and turn Catalan over.
Wow. They can't go double figures. Surely they can't go double figures.
So to go double figures,
They'd have to lose to
that's
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield, Wakey, and Wire,
That's
then play.
That's so doable.
and then play Hull KR and us. It'll be 12.
No way.
Jeez. Really bad. Really, really bad. I'm going to say I think they're done in for top 6. I think that's
I agree.
definitely over now.
Yeah, especially losing to Lee. Yeah, I agree.
I just can't see how it gets better quick. Really can't see it. Lee, good win though, travelling abroad.
Yes, always good to get a win on the road,
And
in Catalan especially.
they've got a tough trip to Headingley on Friday, haven't they?
Interesting interview from Adrian Lamb afterwards,
And Derek.
where Derek photobombed him.
Don't even know what to say to that.
No, I don't either. Let's just not mention it.
Let's move on. Salford.
Did they win this week?
No.
No. Did they have a new debutant this week? Yes. Those seem to answer that question the same way every week.
I know we're talking about Catalans being nearly in double figures, but so is Salford. They're now on 10 back-to-back losses.
No, well, that just makes more sense, though, doesn't it? It feels like it's more than 10.
11, sorry, 11.
Well,
They beat Huddersfield.
No wonder it felt like it was more than 10.
They're back-to-back wins. Bradford, then Huddersfield. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to say. Hull FC needed this game.
They did.
They needed a win. It's been a few weeks for them,
It's been a while. They've lost a couple of players to injury. Good to see Sam Esse playing well.
smashing it.
They are absolutely loving him. The whole never fall in love with a lone player thing is...
It's falling in love.
They've fallen in love with Sam Esse Jr. He's still very much a Wigan player, and so it's good to see him doing well. That's what the loan system is meant to be for. So I'm pleased for him.
Yeah, you know what? I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back and smashes it from a Wigan perspective.
Absolutely. Could do with somebody like him.
It's going to be interesting to see how he translates that.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's all the games.
Okay.
Super League looking a little bit clearer after this week, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple of 4-point gaps, isn't there? Then I think there might be a 3-point gap.
Top
Us to
two.
Lee.
top 2, 3-point gap to 3rd and 4th, bit of a gap to 6 to 8, and then a gap down to Catalan. Warrington are pushing that gap close. They're now 4 points. Let me just check that, sorry. I think they're 4 points off 7th.
Well, how many points are they off 6? That's the important.
So off 6, they are 5 points
Okay.
off Hull.
That's still doable.
That's still doable, but they are now closer to Catalan than Wakefield in 7th.
Wow.
Real troubling times.
We'll see what happens. It's unpredictable. That's the good thing about this sport. It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Unless we're going to go away
Well,
to Wakefield, and that is predictable.
Well, it's predictable that it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Right. Matty, thank you for coming on the episode.
No problem. I think we'll have Lewis back next week. It is also episode 99, this. Episode 99 of the Wigan Way podcast. Can you believe that?
No.
Episode 99.
Do you remember thinking if we'd get to 10?
Listeners, yeah.
When we get to 10 listeners, I remember celebrating when one of our episodes is 100 listeners. That was some time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we still enjoy making them. That's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it'll hopefully carry on for the long term.
Yeah, and we'll be back as a 3 next week. We might do something for the 100th episode. You never know. Watch this space.
Matty, you tease. Teasing it though, I like it.
Okay.
We'll be back next week.
We'll hopefully see some of you at CAS.
See you next week. Goodbye.